Hi there. My name is John Stevens. I'm pastor of Zion Lutheran Church in Oregon City, Oregon, and we are part of the ELCA. And welcome to Dollar Store Children's Sermons, where I take a look at the lectionary text, timed to an item from the Dollar Tree or the junk drawer, or the kids' room or the garage. That is how I've been doing it. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of your week with me in this way, and thank you for your partnership in this ministry, and most importantly, thank you for the love that you're sharing with your kids and your congregation and your families. You, my friend, are rocking it. Now, this is the last Sunday of the church year, Reign of Christ, Christ the King, or in narrative lectionary, we're looking at Jeremiah. And a brief commercial announcement, I've written an Advent Devotional called Ground Floor Grace. It's based on the Revised Common Lectionary, but perhaps you want, during Advent, you want to use the RCL. If you do, this is a great resource. I'm going to link where you can get the PDF and different licenses. If you worship 1 to 30, if you worship 31 to 60, 60 to 90, 90 to whatever, and different tier of pricing. Or if you want a devotional for your own personal use during Advent, donate to the Dollar Store Children's Sermons, make a comment in the notes with your email, and I'll send you a copy of the PDF for your own use. So thank you. And Western North Dakota Synod, which if you're not in the States, that's how we break up the geographical areas in the ELCA. Western North Dakota, Pastor Brad Dockin, and other group of fantastic fine folk wrote worship helps for using the devotional as a springboard. So I'll link that as well, so you can get a copy of that. And that one they're putting out for free, and I appreciate that. It's humbling to have something written about using the devotion. So, all right, narrative lectionary. We're in Jeremiah, and so you don't need anything from the Dollar Tree or the junk drawer, or the garage, or the kids' room, because you're using either yourself or you're using someone else. Probably easier to use someone else in this, and I'm leaning into a verse in Jeremiah that says, if you seek God, you will find, or if you seek, you will find. And I love that image of playing hide and seek and being able to seek. Sometimes we think, finding God is so hard. But Jeremiah, we have this promise that if you seek, you will find. And sometimes I think God's like, hey! So that's what we're leaning into. You're going to have a person. Could be, if you're a youth director, you could have the pastor doing it. If you're a pastor, you could have the youth director. If it's pastor, you could have the musician, or you could have anyone. Of course, you could have anyone you want. Shocking, I know, the depth of some of my comments. Anyway, so you have someone who's going to hide in a very obvious place, and they can. Either, I don't know, like you could have they're hiding. We have a pulpit and a lectern. They could hide behind the lectern because the lectern is not that wide, and it's really hard to hide behind the lectern, so you'd be seen. This is actually reminding me of the one frame cartoon where the two people knock on the door and they say, "Have you found Jesus?" And you see two sandaled feet sticking out behind the curtain. It just cracks me up. So, have you found Jesus? He's hiding in here somewhere. But this idea that they hide. Or you could have it like in our sanctuary, we have a balcony, and it could be that you have the person in the balcony and going, hey everybody, hi, I'm up here, and making it really obvious about when you're seeking and you find. I'm gonna look. Oh, there they are, and making it highlighting that God wants to be found. That not only does God want to be found, God puts God in our way. Speaking that with God puts themselves in our way. I'm working on the pronouns, but still, God reaches out and God says, "Here I am, here I am." Almost like you're walking down the line and God goes, "Ooh, hi, here I am." Ooh, anyway, anyway, those images in my head. But that's where I'm leaning into. If we seek, we'll find. And sometimes we seek and we don't even know we seek, because we're walking along and it's like, wait, what was that? Sometimes I call him a squirrel, but it's more than that. I've heard that term glimmer in verse, rather than a trigger, a glimmer. And so when a glimmer, and there's times where we see God and we don't even know we're seeking, and we're like, yeah. There's a book that has about 30 different stories in it called Bumping into God Again by Father Grassi. And I love the title, Bumping into God. And so the sense that sometimes we bump into God and we don't even know we're seeking. All right, lots of things, but all about, hey, I'm here, I'm here. It has kind of a Ted Lasso, Jamie Tart feel to it. I'm over here, pass me the ball. If you're a Ted Lasso fan, you'll know the episode. But there we are. I'm hoping this can be useful for your own children's sermon. Thank you so much for being here, for spending a little bit of your week with me in this way. Thank you for your partnership in this ministry. And thank you, most importantly, for the love that you're sharing with your kids and your congregation and your families. You, my friend, are rocking it. All right, we'll see you next week. Peace.